Right, let's not get silly now, people.
I laugh me, baby, bust it open, bring it back. I'm the realest killer in it, I don't even need to act. Throwing up the racks, I'm just throwing up the racks, baby.
Yo, Chelsea, chaos and trophies. Hopefully the trophies will follow, but the chaos is starting to seep in to Chelsea Football Club in the media. I, of course, reacted this morning in a video about the Mudryk doping allegations at the time that have since come out to be true in terms of him being charged with a breach that I'm going to speak about here. And since lots of people are on social media, obviously not Chelsea fans, are making inferences about a doping scandal at Chelsea, I've heard some rather silly stuff that I want to address here. About Mudryk, about people talking about Enzo Fernandez suddenly having insane running stats. And there's always doping conspiracies in football. It's like, you know, if you haven't heard the Liverpool inhaler one, go check that out. There was this stat about how an insane amount of proportion of the Liverpool squads had asthma, which is way more than the average for a group of players, let alone athletes, and therefore is like a performance enhancing inhaler thing, which I think since been disproven, but it was a big story. It was certainly a big conspiracy theory going around. I want to speak about it a little bit today. Mark Goldbridge has done a video on That's Football highlighting the conspiracy, saying let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I just think it's you know, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, look, we're going to get into it today. If you guys haven't seen my video that I've uploaded previously to this, go watch it. Guys, I'd urge you to go watch it. There's going to be no like silly jokes in this one either, or crash zooms, because it is a serious situation, and I think it's really important to consider Mykhailo Mudryk, a young man that's endured a lot in this situation. We'll read his statement. We'll read Chelsea's statement. Unknowingly, supposedly, have taken something, and I don't think he should. You know, he needs to be protected. He's a young man. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad character, and he needs to be protected. Simple as, and if you want my more detailed opinion on that, I would urge you guys to go and watch that previous video, because that was an instantaneous reaction, and I go into a little bit more detail about Mudryk himself in this scenario. So I urge you guys to check that out. In the meantime, let's check out his statement. This is him on social media. I did pin this in the previous video, but let's read this and then Chelsea's statement, and then we can talk about the silliness afterwards. I can confirm I have been notified that a sample provided to the Football Association contained a banned substance. This has come as a complete shock, as I have never knowingly used any banned substances or broken any rules, and I'm working closely with my team to investigate how this could have happened. I know that I have done nothing wrong and remain hopeful that I will be back on the pitch soon. I cannot say any more now due to the confidentiality of the process, but I will as soon as I can. Blue Heart, understandably, comments turned off. When you reference team, that's important here, because these people do have teams of people around them trying to get them to physical conditioning. There'll be PR teams. He's very big on this physicality conditioning stuff, so there'll be people that do try and supplement him appropriately. Now, let's not be naive here. These teams of people, these specialists, I'm not saying they walk the line of illegality and legality, but they do try and optimize supplementation for players, especially if fitness is a big thing for them. But look, this is the modern age, and you know they surely are very careful. But I understand why his team is dealing. Team is dealing with this, and similarly, the Chelsea have made a statement. Let's have a look here, shall we? Chelsea Football Club can confirm the FA have recently contacted our player Mykhailo Mudryk concerning an adverse finding on a routine urine test. Both the club and Mykhailo fully support the FA's testing program, and all our players, including Mykhailo, are regularly tested. Mykhailo has confirmed categorically that he has never knowingly used any banned substances. Both Mykhailo and the club will now work with the relevant authorities to establish what has caused this adverse finding. The club will not be commenting any further. as you'd expect, Chelsea, not going to comment any further, and neither will he till more, more findings have come out. I think he's subsequently been temporarily banned from football until I find out what's going on. And obviously, it could have big ramifications if he's found to have taken it, even if it's unknowingly. Paul Pogba, was recently banned for doping, banned substance. How long was Pogba banned for in the end? I think he was court of arbitration of sport where he got it shortened to I think it was 18 months out of banned from football, which of course is much more devastating for Pogba in terms of his part of his career. But Mudryk was on a rebuild anyway. And that's to say, if he is found that was taking a banned substance, I don't know what the defense is if you've taken it unknowingly, because that would have been the defense of Paul Pogba. Yet he still got banned for 18. Well, what was it, 3 years of football or something? Essentially, an amount of football that retired him, but it got shortened, and he's at the point now in his early 30s where he believes he could still play in a top 5 league. Pogba, and is looking to do so as we speak. Obviously, it would be silly to speculate what's going to happen with Mykhailo Mudryk here and what's the findings are going to be, because he could be cleared. But I do want to talk a little bit about this silliness. So, naturally, it's a big story, this, guys, and everyone has an opinion. Now, there's a lot of social media accounts on X that have been talking about conspiracy theories. Look, first of all, I'm not gonna name a lot of the Twitter accounts or the X accounts because it's just not worth airtime. I will reference Mark Goldbridge talking on his secondary channel, That's Football, that isn't Manchester United based, where he talks all things football. Now, he knows what he's doing, and look, in a way you could say, Jan, you're doing it now. I mean, I cover Chelsea, and I do want to speak about this, but he was like, people might be like, why is Enzo Fernandez running a lot? Why are Chelsea suddenly second in the league after being, bad last season? Why, but it's a bit early to go for that, guys, and let's find out what happens with Mudryk first. He knows precisely what he's doing by that inference. He wanted to highlight it, and he wanted to make a video where he puts Chelsea in crisis. I believe. Let me just look at the name of the video. Here we go. The video in question: banned, Chelsea in crisis. Chelsea in crisis. So saith Mark Goldbridge on his channel. That's Football. Maybe slightly in his defense, it's a big channel, 1.3 million subscribers. He will have people that do the thumbnails, that do the titles, and that's, sensational clickbait, but he's still responsible for that channel, and that is just silliness, detrimental, damaging stuff. Look, man, Chelsea, the crisis Chelsea, okay? Crisis Chelsea that are in second place, that are going to win the Conference League, that have young developing players that are now rightly being praised, a youngish coach, a very good coach that's doing the complete right thing, that's now being praised. Even the sporting directors that made really savvy investments in Parma, Augusto, Jackson, Madueke, all for under 30 million. You got the likes of Vega and other players. Even the expensive players like Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez coming really good. It's just not Chelsea in crisis. And in the video he says I'm not talking about it, but some people are saying Enzo Fernandez running, how have Chelsea gone from poor to really, really good? Well, firstly, Chelsea were better at the end of last season, and secondly, Chelsea are just set up well, tactically well, and they've got a manager doing the right things, and it's not like we're absolutely destroying teams fitness-wise. It's close. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the games are close. So it's really irresponsible to put Chelsea in crisis. And it's not Cole Palmer. Okay, if this was Cole Palmer and others, and these conspiracies were true, that Chelsea were giving the players substances, like the Liverpool inhaler, the conspiracy, again, I don't think that's true, but if that was a true conspiracy, and if this was true, we would be in crisis. If I wake up tomorrow and more news explodes and there's been a doping conspiracy theory with Chelsea, then yes, you can have your title, Goldbridge, Chelsea in crisis. But simply, Mykhailo Mudryk, who has been accused of a substance, taking a substance that he's stated he's unknowingly taken. It's just silly, I think. But like I said, it was Cole Palmer. And again, with Mudryk, I really do urge you guys to go watch my previous upload if you haven't seen it, because it's very, very important to be empathetic and sensitive to a guy that struggled in England, that's gone through an abhorrent time in his home country where his hometown was most affected by the invasion. He's introverted, he's sensitive, he needs to be treated empathetically and with care. He can't, be adult about this, guys. Be mindful. Do not send abuse to him. Just wait. In fact, support him. Do you know what I mean? Why don't you just people be nice, loving and supportive? That would be a nice, change of pace of online social media behaviour. But yes, not Chelsea in crisis. Chelsea are doing very well without the player in question at the moment. In fact, we've got excellent wingers. I said the likes of Joao Felix has proven he can play very, good on the left wing, who he can deputise for Sancho. And of course, you've got Neto, Noni Madueke on the right wing. They are players. Chelsea have got players. Chelsea are not in crisis. If something happens with Mudryk, if there's a ban, the American owners, they've put so many clauses into the contracts. Maybe Chelsea would be in a position where they can terminate Mudryk's contract or whatever, or navigate that. The point being, Chelsea are not in crisis. Like I said, there's loads of X accounts, non-Chelsea fans, of course, suggesting that maybe there's some funny business going on. Surely Chelsea aren't suddenly really, really good at football, and therefore there is a conspiracy. And then obviously lots of people referencing the running stats of Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez had a lot going on in his private life. He's since, sadly split up with his wife. He's, obviously there was a stressful situation hanging over him. He's been tactically liberated by the Chelsea manager, Enzo Maresca. There's many, many people that know a lot more about football and tactics than I, and maybe many of you, that have highlighted why Enzo Fernandez is playing better now due to the tactical deployment from his gaffer, Enzo Maresca. And Chelsea are just playing well. It is so hard to believe Chelsea are just a good team and playing well now, and there needs to be a conspiracy. I think it's a bit silly. Like I said, if I wake up tomorrow and the headlines are Cole Palmer tested positive for doping and he's going to have a 2-year ban, and Enzo Fernandez too, yes, then I myself will do that Goldbridge title. Chelsea in crisis. But for the moment, let's just be a little bit sensible. Let's be cerebral about the situation. One player who's very, very big on fitness and all this kind of stuff, that has a team of people that help try and, enhance his athleticism. He's reportedly unknowingly taken something that's considered a banned substance and is working with the FA and Chelsea to resolve this. What do we know about the new Chelsea owners? Well, we know they want to be very kosher, very above board with everything. That was their big MO when they came in. They said, look, we've self-reported all financial irregularities to the FA, to the Premier League, to UEFA. UEFA, of course, said, thank you for telling us. Here's a small fine. Forget about it. And then, of course, we get to hear of the Premier League and FA, but Richard Masters has already praised Chelsea for self-reporting irregularities. They clearly want to be above board on everything. I doubt there is a big conspiracy that Chelsea are doping all their players to become good again, because simply they just don't need to. We've got a big squad. We can rotate. Players don't need to burn out. That is the obvious scenario here. So let's consider Mudryk. Let's be empathetic, compassionate, and considerate. Let's think about there's real people here. And, we can focus on the football, of which is very, very good at the moment, and let this story sort of wash away. But I wanted to reference it and talk about it, and just highlight the silliness. And let's be real, the pettiness. Again, egg on my face. If I wake up tomorrow and there is a big conspiracy that's come out in the media, I will be the first to react to it. But let's be honest, smells like there's a farm nearby. It's bull so-and-so. What would you expect? Anyway, disappointing from some content creators, but hey, let's move on. And, a game on Thursday, and then, Goodison, bogey ground on the weekend. We win there, we continue the momentum, and let the authorities appropriately deal with Mudryk in the background. Cool, guys, thank you for supporting me as always, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.